Make sure to note before you take things apart where certain cables and hoses and things are, like the throttle cable here is on the back hole of the two holes there, and then the fuel lines, the fatter one is on the top and the skinnier one is underneath. Okay, so I got the two screws out of the air filter here, and you take that off of there, and the air filter's right there. Is to get to the carburetor. Got a couple screws in here that I know I'm going to need to take out, and then I think that faceplate just comes off of there, and we'll see what's underneath. Well, the two screws came out of there, and make sure that you note the top one has a compression type washer on it. But what I didn't realize was once I took those off, that faceplate would come out. I didn't think they were that long. I just figured it was just to take this faceplate off, but heck, the whole carburetor, I unhooked that cable and the hoses on there, and that carburetor's completely off of there, which was kind of surprising that 2 bolts takes care of everything. So okay, so I found what I needed on there. Below the 849, if you see that, it says WA226. That's the type of carburetor that Walbro makes, the number of it, and they're carb rebuild kits for 223, 224, 225, 226, blah blah blah. So I know which one this is now, so I know which kit to order. Okay, so today we're going to rebuild the carburetor. I've got myself a carburetor kit here. It is a K20-WAT, made by Walbro. That's the carburetor that it is, and so I got the name brand carburetor kit. I will open that up and see what all the parts are in there and sort all that out. I believe that there's more parts in there, that it takes care of more than one carburetor than I'll actually need. So I'll sort through all that, and I went on the internet and printed out a carburetor diagram for the 226 carburetor that I have. So I'll be using this as a guide to help me see how everything goes back together. So first off, we'll be taking it apart. Well, first off, I'm actually going to sort through what's in this container here. I've got everything sorted out that was in the carburetor kit. I got 3 what I'm going to call fiberglass gaskets, 5 cardboard gaskets plus 1 smaller one. I know where that goes inside there, and 2 rubber diaphragms. I got 3 of these silver domed covers, 1 gold one, 2 mesh screens, a washer, and what looks like a pin, a clip pin, 2 different size needles, a hinge for the needle, and a float pin. So now we'll start tearing down the current carburetor. We'll start on the top end and take off the primer bulb. And there's gas in there. Okay, just need to make sure we know exactly the order everything goes in. So primer bulb first, and this covering. Alright, so there's 2 here. The plastic, and then a fiber gasket, and the fiber goes first. like such. Set that off to the side. The mesh screen comes out. Oh shit. Okay, now onto the bottom. This hinge close here for the idle screw, I guess it is up against this side here, so I'll just turn that to the center. So when this pops off, we'll take that off. Set those 4 screws off to the side. And pop that off of there. Alright, so we got this cover first. Then we have a diaphragm, and then a gasket. Two screws for that. That pops out, and then there's a gasket in there. And that only fits in there one way. Take this screw out of here, and then that'll release the whole float pin and needle and everything else. That was in there pretty tight. There's a spring in there. Alright. Screw, float pin, lever, needle, and it looks like of the 2 needles that were supplied, I'm going to be using the bigger needle. And that spring, I did not get a new spring, so I'm going to be reusing that one, so I need to make note of that. This cap, and hopefully that's a regular screw end on there. Making sure not to turn it because it's adjusted at this point. And it's got a slotted end on it, so I can take that out to clean it, and I will screw it all the way in so I know where it's adjusted to, and then I'll take it completely out. So there's a half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 2 3/4. So it's out 2 3/4 turns. Time to start spraying. Get the carb cleaner out and clean this thing off. Do harm. So I want to clean this thing out. Some carbon choke cleaner, and we'll put her back together. I'll probably let this thing sit for a while and let it soak. Any holes or anything I can find to spray stuff into, I will spray into. Make sure you're wearing eye protection. And do as I say, don't do as I do, because I'm not wearing protective gloves. That's good. Tells you that passageway is clear. That's coming out this side here. That's good. Just soaking the shit out of all this. Alright, I'll let that sit for a little bit. Make sure everything's cleaned off. And then I'll start putting her back together.